Hello and welcome back to Power to the People with me, Graeme Pryce. Sometimes things can collude in ways that open up a whole new avenue of understanding or misunderstanding in some cases, especially where those of us who believe what we read in the Daily Mail or enjoy the output of channels like Talk TV are concerned. Two things are colluding for me this week, and they are comments from Reform voters I've been seeing on my videos lately, and the blatant show of sheer racism displayed by Runcorn's Reform MP Sarah Potion when she let her twisted mask slip for a second and admitted it drives her mad to see black and Asian people in adverts on television. Let's have a quick chat about that right after this. 'Tis Power to the People with Graeme Pryce, where sometimes he's naughty or nice. If you like the vibe, hit like and subscribe. But don't hit the like button twice. Thank you. I know what some of the responses I'm going to get to this video are going to be already. But that's not what she said, Graeme. She was just expressing legitimate concerns. No, that is what she said, and no, she wasn't expressing legitimate concerns. That's exactly what she said, and she said it in response to somebody who was expressing an opinion so wrong, so utterly misinformed, and so far right that it's frankly absurd that I still get Reform commenters on my videos trying to claim they aren't racist and they aren't far right. Anyway, I did a little experiment today. As some of you may know, I live in Runcorn, Sarah Pochin's constituency, and I have done for quite some time. It was reasonably unusual to see black people in Runcorn maybe 20 years ago, maybe even 15 years ago, but it isn't now. Here's what I've been up to this afternoon. I went for a little stroll around the local streets and popped into one of the shops. And then I took a little wander along the front of the Mersey and under the Jubilee Bridge. And when I'd counted 20 people that I'd seen, I came home again. Of those 20 people I saw, 2 were black people and 3 were Asian people. 2 of them were the people who run the shop that I went into. So they certainly weren't asylum seekers or illegal immigrants, as Sarah Goblin would dishonestly call them. One of the black people I saw was also a nice lady that always gives me a smile because she's lived here about as long as I have and she recognises my face, though we've never actually spoken. I know people in London don't believe that can be true, but sometimes in cities in the north, people meet each other, they don't know each other, and they smile at each other. It's not a myth. So that's just 2 people I saw, anyway, that could maybe possibly have come across on a boat, 1 black person and 1 Asian person, but they almost certainly didn't. That's kind of beside the point. Anyway, the main information to take from this is that a quarter of the people I saw in just one 15-minute walk were not white people. Sarah Potion claims that TV adverts don't represent the demographic of the UK outside of London, outside of the M25 ring, I think she said. Well, that doesn't seem to ring true to me. Now, I know she hasn't spent an awful lot of time in her own constituency. She won by one of the narrowest margins in election history and is generally disliked and distrusted by most people. Probably because she doesn't like being challenged about the multiple times she's been caught lying about the local area and its people, but who knows? Apparently she doesn't know the area as well as she claims. A quarter of the people I counted weren't white, but even that doesn't really tally up with the numbers. I've checked them many times when I've been in conversation with people in the last few years. In the 2021 census of Runcorn, the demographic of ethnicity was shown to be 96.6% white people. She represents a town where just 3.4% of the population isn't white. And even if that has changed a bit since 2021, I'd still be very surprised if it's less than 90. Demographics don't change that quickly. But she's not happy with that. She's still offended when she turns on the TV and she might be driven mad by the sight of some black or Asian people. Go home then, Sarah. Turn the television off and have a look outside. You live in a town that's 96% white, love. But maybe that is why she's so offended by the sight of black and Asian people on the television. Her constituency is almost exclusively white, so does she think that there should only be 3.4% of the people she sees on the television that are black or Asian? Why? Why though, Sarah? What's wrong with seeing black and Asian people on TV? Why does it drive you mad, Sarah? Why? Regardless, she lives in Cheshire. She doesn't actually live in Runcorn. She's near enough though, to be fair to her. But she spends a lot of her time travelling and in London, where I'm sure she must notice that the numbers are quite a bit different. White people only make up 53% of the people in London, so let's even that out a bit with her 96% white constituency and extrapolate that it's probably right to think that something like 35 to 40% of the people that she sees in her everyday life are probably black or Asian as she's travelling about and living her life. I think that's a reasonable number to get, guesswork. I don't want to get too technical. I do see adverts though, even though I don't watch TV very much. I see them on YouTube and I see them on Amazon Prime, and I don't think more than about 35 to 40% of the people in adverts are black or Asian. I think that's about the right number. What do you think? Do you know what I think the main thing we have to take from this here is though? The fundamental difference between me and Sarah Poshin. I don't give a shit. I don't care if the guy on the telly trying to tell me to sign up for Deliveroo is black. I couldn't give a toss. You ever get an advert before a YouTube video for Asda and there's an Indian woman on the till? The colour of people's skin doesn't matter to me. It drives Sarah Poshin mad to see black and Asian people in adverts though. Why is that? Why do you think it is? Thank you for watching if you've gotten this far. I think I've rambled a little bit here, but just to tie everything up, I'll explain what I mean in the title and the thumbnail. I don't think I'm quite ready to wade into the caustic underside of the internet and make another viewer's comments just yet. But I do read all the comments and I'm always a little bit amazed by the people who post comments in support of reform but claim they aren't racist. I have black friends. I'm not racist, but legitimate concerns. You know the sort of comments. Sarah Poshin, on a national platform, decided to tell her followers and all listening that it drives her mad to see black and Asian people on the television. If you are championing and cheering for a person that says something like that, it doesn't matter if you have black friends. You're supporting a racist. You still might not be one, but you're kind of a racist by proxy because you're enabling one. If it drives you mad to see black or Asian people in any setting, I suppose, then yeah, I think you probably have a bit of a problem. You may have arrived at that mindset because you've been manipulated and radicalised by the constant bombardment of misinformation on social media from reform. But you need to stop being offended when people call you the racist. You've allowed yourself to be fooled into supporting a party that has an MP that just said it drives her mad to see black and Asian people on the television. At this point, you might as well just stand up and own it because you look silly supporting people like that and then claiming not to be a racist. But if you really genuinely aren't, and you voted for reform in May, didn't realise what you were voting for, it's time you did a little bit of thinking about what you're supporting. No reform voters will get this far into the video, but if any do, then feel free to have your say in the comments. This isn't an echo chamber, and I don't delete comments that I don't necessarily agree with. But it is my effort to do something, anything, to try and stem the tide of right-wing disinformation, misinformation and bullshit that is crushing our nation. And if you'd like to help out, You can find the link to the Buy Me a Coffee page and the Patreon link in the descriptions box. Not being driven mad by the sight of black or Asian people. And the join button for memberships is, as always, below. Now that isn't all I have to say, but it is as much of what I've got to say as I'm going to say today. Ta-ra. Hello and welcome back to Power to the People with me. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen, was it? See, this is why I don't do it live.